And of course, before we get into our secondary review, I just want to give a quick reminder that if you like the show, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review it on whatever app you use, and share our episodes on social media to help get the word out about the show. Now, on to the secondary review.
Tell me I view obsessively.
Look at that. This is actually a depiction of a swan. But what do you see? What do you feel?
I feel you don't live here.
Ronnie!
She could stay here, but I can't get a dog.
She's my sister. There's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference. You can have sex in front of a dog.
Today's a big day for Anna. They're doing one of those big auctions.
If I want to work at a top art gallery, I gotta get a good recommendation. And there's no better recommendation than Claire DuPont.
Good morning, everyone.
All right, so for this week's secondary review, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Upgraded, which is streaming on Amazon Prime Video and is a romantic comedy. Let me go see it here. Okay, it's on Prime Video. It premiered on, what did I say, February 9th, I think? February 9th. The plot summary, courtesy of IMDb, is when Anna is upgraded to first class on a work trip, she meets handsome Will, who mistakes Anna for her boss Claire. A white lie then sets off a glamorous chain of events, romance, and opportunity until her fib threatens to surface. Director for this movie was Carlson Young. Writers were Christine Lenig, Justin Matthews, and Luke Spencer Roberts. The cast includes Camila Mendes, Archie, Renaux, Marisa Tomei, Lena, Olin, Anthony Head, and Thomas Kretschmann. So I mentioned that I don't know how much I'm going to have to say about it. I did end up rating it 2.5 stars out of 5. So it's a step up from Godzilla X Kong, believe it or not, which is surprising. Now that and I'm probably going to talk myself into a 2-star review of this because I don't know if there's enough things memorable about it. So on Letterboxd, I wrote, the movie doesn't go too hard into the white lie spiraling out of control trope, and for that, I'm surprisingly pretty thankful. It gives way to some decent chemistry between the two leads and lets their charm shine through. It's still pretty cliche and low maintenance as far as rom-coms go. Funny enough, this would make for a really solid airplane movie, which that last line is my attempt at what the kids call humor. No, it does feel like it is this type of movie that could be very much easily consumed on a plane. Like slightly distracted, you have other things on your mind, your destination. And it's an inoffensive rom-com. It is kind of the opposite of the Netflix rom-com I reviewed last month or in February, Players. This is an inoffensive rom-com in that it takes this trope. It takes this trope of two people who are like, it's an opposites attract scenario where one of them thinks the other is someone that they're not. And not even that he thinks that she's someone that she's not. It's more so that she tells him that she is someone she's not. So like she tells him that she is like the head of whatever in the art gallery world. And what I appreciate about it, as I said in the Letterboxd review, is that this movie doesn't harp on that. There isn't zany stunts to keep up appearances or keep up the lie. Like the premise of the movie is basically the work trip is she goes to London, and while she's in London, her boss, played by Marisa Tomei, is whisked away to Rome, I think. So she and Clara's, I think that was her name, right? She and her bosses, or it might have just been Clara. I can't click back. Claire, it was Claire. So she and Claire's other assistants are working together to basically get the ball rolling on this high profile art auction from some art dealers or art owners in London. And along the way, she meets and falls for Archie Renaux's character, William. They meet on the plane. And it's a typical meet cute. They bump into each other and she spills coffee on him. And it's very much the indicator of the opposites attract thing, or the two people of two different social statuses. Because the beginning of the movie is basically the beginning of the trailer is basically the opening scene of the movie, where we learn that Anna is living with her sister and brother-in-law. Her brother-in-law is very much agitated and ready for her to leave. And she is just trying to make ends meet. Her goal, her wish, her dream is to become an art dealer and have her own art gallery, which feels like a perfunctory, cliched sort of rom-com thing that's like, okay, we need all of the set pieces, or we need all of the hallmarks of a romantic comedy. We need to have a woman who is not satisfied with her job, who is looking to get ahead in her job and has aspirations outside of her job, or to excel in the workforce of her industry. But she has like a boss that's domineering. And this is where I am going to struggle a little bit with talking about it, because Claire as a character played by Marisa Tomei, she's great. She does this goofy accent that I don't remember if it ever pays off. Like, it feels like the movie introduces her and she has like this, I think, Italian accent. And then like there's a line of dialogue where I thought it was implying that, or maybe I just invented this in my mind, but I thought it was implying that like, oh, she's lying about her accent. She's not actually like Italian. She's just putting on airs. I honestly don't remember if that's resolved at all, but I just assumed that it would be because it's Marisa Tomei. I didn't know, because Marisa Tomei doesn't have an accent. I thought that they were just playing that up. But regardless, it does feel very much like a cliched domineering boss story. Like, I saw it was either a Letterboxd review or it might have been a review on the IMDb page for it, but like the headline of it was "The Devil Wears Old Navy." And I thought that was freaking hilarious. Like, I thought that was more entertaining reading that headline for a review of this movie than the entirety of the movie. Because it is very apt. It is very much like a discount Devil Wears Prada. Granted, I say that with an asterisk because I haven't seen The Devil Wears Prada, but I know I'm talking in terms of the overall plot of and the vibe of The Devil Wears Prada. It feels very much like it is influenced by that and a discount version of that at that. Plus that whole aspect, the biggest gripe I have for it, and probably the reason why I will waffle between 2 stars and 2.5 stars, is that the resolution of the lie and the way that the lie comes into play and comes to light, like there are very much there are hallmarks of the romantic comedy genre. There are conventions of the genre that should be adhered to, and here it just feels like they don't, as much as they don't rely on the drama of her lie to propel the story forward. Instead, it is more of a conventional meet cute between Anna and William, and it's her basically ingratiating herself in his family as they get to know each other deeper. And then there's also a lot of stuff with the auction that she's in London to do, that she's in London to help facilitate. And the way that those storylines kind of convalesce or coalesce and dovetail together is pretty satisfying from a dramatic standpoint, but it doesn't feel like it has the dramatic oomph that it should. In fact, when we get to kind of the end run of the episode, the movie, toward the end of the episode, when we get like what should have been the scene where William is confronting Anna and telling her like, "Hey, you lied to me. You did this." Like, they should have had a big blow up scene. That's played for a misdirect in a comic beat that doesn't land, because it is basically giving the movie a little bit of leeway away from having to deal with the drama of that. So I did think that the performances were pretty solid, I guess, for the movie. It was pretty solid in terms of the performances. Camila Mendes did do a good job portraying Anna, even if the script wasn't really there for her or didn't really do much for her or give her much room to really dive into the classic rom-com tropes and things that make this type of movie work really well for me, particularly. So I don't know. one of the reasons why I was a little bit hesitant to review this movie, I was kind of wondering maybe I should pick another movie for the secondary review, but I pushed through and I'm doing this. But like one of the reasons why was because I don't think this movie is very memorable. I'm not going to really think about it after I finish recording this episode. So it is what it is. So I guess I can kind of cut it down there now. I will say that Anthony Head playing Julian Marx, he plays this artist who faked his death and as a means to get better sales on his artwork. I wanted more of him in the movie. He is kind of that cliched kind of big personality comic relief character. I wanted more of his character and his arc in the movie. I wanted him to have an arc in the movie instead of just being comic relief. I just wish that there was more to his character. So that is a non-spoiler secondary review for Upgraded. Once again, it is streaming on Amazon Prime Video. If you're weary of Amazon Prime having ads now, I will say that there was 2 pre-roll ads that played before the movie, and then I didn't have any ads the rest of the movie. So I don't know if excuse me, I don't know if Amazon Prime has the ads set up to where if you're watching an original movie like Roadhouse or Upgraded, if it would just play the pre-roll ads and then let it play. And then if you watch anything else on Prime Video, it says like mid-roll ads. I don't know. I haven't watched anything on Amazon Prime that's not an Amazon Prime original. But if you are hesitant of that because of the ads, I saw it was 60 seconds of ads at the beginning of the movie, and then it was smooth sailing from the rest of that. So anyway, once again, that's on Amazon Prime Video. Let me know what you thought of Upgraded. I'm not going to do a potpourri section for this episode because I haven't really watched that much of anything really in addition to all of this, but I will have more stuff next week, of course. So that'll do it for this week's episode of The Obsessive Viewer. As always, thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Brent for joining me for the primary review. Once again, check out his work at awakeinthedark.com and at Awake in the Dark on Letterboxd. And make sure to follow this show, The Obsessive Viewer, on social media and subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast app. Also, check out Obsessive Viewer Podcast's other shows, Tower Junkies, a Stephen King podcast hosted by Tiny and myself, and Anthology, the Twilight Zone and classic sci-fi podcast hosted by me, which is going to be making a return very, very soon. Can't wait. I'm going to start playing myself out. So check out those shows. Also, more information at obsessiveviewer.com/podcasts. Next week on the show, I'm going to be reviewing Dev Patel's directorial debut, Monkey Man, and the secondary review will be for the documentary Girls State, which is going to be on Apple TV Plus on April 5th. So until then, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.